Blueprint, guys. I am so excited. This is my very first show. And for those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Krystal Vernee, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a speaker, author, a business coach, and a brand strategist. And my claim to fame is that I teach coaches, consultants, online service providers how to monetize their expertise and create multiple streams of income so that they can build a profitable and sustainable business. I can't tell you the excitement and just the journey that I've gone through in order to get to this point. And I think for my very first episode, I just really want to keep it 100% raw, real. My goal for this show is to really talk about what it means and what the challenges and the triumphs are for women in entrepreneurship, also women of color, and just kind of be an example for aspiring women entrepreneurs, and show them that all that they desire in their life, all that they want is possible for them. And I think also too it's important to note that you don't have to choose. I think that was one of the most important lessons that I've learned in this journey, on this road to becoming an entrepreneur. So, you know, I know a lot of us have grown up traditionally, and, you know, as a little girl, growing up in America and, you know, being exposed to the American dream and all these different things, and what little girls or what women are supposed to aspire to be. And usually we have, well, now we have a couple of choices, because let's be real, back in the day there were not a lot of choices for women in terms of like what profession you could go into or what was going to happen in your life. And for most of our parents and our parents' parents and parents' the woman typically stayed at home and she was not the breadwinner. And of course, as time went on, you know, things in society changed and women, you know, went to work and they were having careers. But there was still that pressure of having a family and having children. And then there was this notion that you had to choose. You couldn't have a happy life at home, or you couldn't have a happy family and have a career or have a business or all of those things. And I want to be the example and show everyone that you don't have to choose. You can have it all. You can have a happy life at home. You can be a mom. You can be an entrepreneur. You can also have a career. And I've gone through several stages in my life, and by no means am I perfect, but my goal is to kind of just give you an insight into my journey, and at some point I'll definitely be having guests on the show that will also give you valuable insight as well. I really want to give you practical tools and strategies and tips you can take and implement in your life as well as in your business, because I definitely want to see each and every one of you flourish. And yeah, so that's really my goal for the show. We're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff, y'all. A whole lot of stuff. Because like I said, I want to keep it real. So on the business side of things, we're definitely going to touch sales, marketing, systems, automation, revenue generation. What else? Anything that you can think of to build a profitable and sustainable business. Of course, multiple streams of income, because I'm the multiple streams of income queen. And that's what I like to talk about. And basically just setting yourself up to earn, and setting yourself up to have your very own little empire, and just go into different lines of business that don't necessarily follow the traditional route. And I'll get more into my personal story, you know, over the course of the show. But I invite you guys to sit back, relax, and step into the world of the Brand Builder Blueprint. I have been asked, how did I come up with the name, the Brand Builder Blueprint, capital HER, Brand BuildHER Blueprint. Well, if you don't know, one of the pillars in my company, I'm the founder of Simply Slay Hard Every Day. As you can tell, I'm an advocate for women, and specifically women in entrepreneurship. Everything is she and her, and very much on brand because I'm also a brand strategist. But I came up with the Brand Builder Blueprint because I felt like, as I started to get exposed to different lines of business and getting interested in doing different things in the entrepreneurship realm, I just saw that a lot of people were copying one another. And I know that the name of the show, and actually my coaching program as a coach, and my podcast is the Brand Builder Blueprint, and that means that you follow a blueprint is something that you're going to follow to build something, right? Or to construct something. But the reason why I named it the Brand Builder Blueprint is because I encourage folks to actually build their own blueprint versus following someone else's blueprint. I think the way in which you actually stay truest to yourself and the most authentic is to leverage what's already inside of you. And so I saw a lot of people copying, their favorite industry leader or their favorite coach or their favorite mentor, just copying straight out. I'm just like, well, you're not going to be able to do it exactly like that person. Now, I know something to be said for following in someone else's footsteps, but wouldn't it be amazing if you were the one that was actually, in charge, or making your own blueprint, charting your own path, so to speak. So I encourage my clients and those who work with me to actually follow in their own footsteps or leverage what's already inside of them to create something great, to create something amazing. And when you are building a business, you essentially are building your own blueprint, because no two entrepreneurship journeys are exactly alike. So just because your mentor did something and saw success doesn't mean that you're going to see the same success. You may see some successes, but it may not be the exact same as the person who's coaching you or mentoring you, or the person that you're following. So just always keep that in mind, and it's okay to make your own decisions. I'm very much a person that advocates for you being an empowered CEO, or having an empowered CEO mindset, meaning that you actually take what you know, your knowledge, your talents, your skills, your expertise, and you make decisions. You make the decisions that are best for you, that are going to be the most impactful for your business, for your clients, for your community, for your brand community. So I think that's really important, to be comfortable and confident in your own skin to be able to actually run a successful business. And so that's a little bit behind, just a snippet behind why I named the show the Brand Builder Blueprint. And you're going to kind of see that theme throughout the show, and really in pretty much everything that I do. There's a blueprint of some sort. I'm definitely all about having multiple strategies, or taking the best strategies and leveraging them for your particular needs. So especially when my clients work with me, I'm like, look, this is the strategy that worked for me. I got about 10 more strategies that you can try, you can mix and match, because this strategy works best for me, but these other two might actually work best for you. And why not take advantage of that than being pigeonholed to doing things one way? So yeah, that's a little bit behind the Brand Builder Blueprint. I encourage my clients to make their own blueprints so that they can see the success that they desire, and really the most optimal success with whatever that they're doing. So that's a little bit about the Brand Builder Blueprint. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Definitely going to be with the show. I envision just having a dialogue or a conversation with you all. So there's going to be opportunities for you to submit questions, and I'll be answering them live on air, as well as having a chance to interact with me. So get excited, stay tuned, and you're gonna see some great stuff here. to tell you all a little bit about me and how I got started in entrepreneurship and with my entrepreneurial journey. So I started in entrepreneurship at the ripe old age of 16. I actually started with, I started in the e-commerce space. I started with an eBay store. I did this in high school, opened up my first store. I was very much into clothing, shopping, and handbags, name brand handbags. And so I started a online store selling like designer handbags, vintage handbags. And my very first month, I got, I found my own supplier online. This is before e-commerce was what it was today, y'all. This is like when eBay first came a thing. So I found a supplier. They were overseas, and I got customers lined up, y'all. So I even pre-sold some stuff. Like, thinking back, like, I was like, that was crazy a little bit. But I made $16,000 my very first month in business. And my mother, she was not thrilled. So unfortunately, it didn't work out, and I had to shut my store down. Of course, I was devastated because I thought this was what I was supposed to do. I was making money. My mom was like, you need to get an education. This is not going to pay your bills. Parents don't know everything. But yeah, so I had to shut that down. But that wasn't really my earliest experience or exposure to entrepreneurship. My very first experience with entrepreneurship was actually my dad. So my dad was an entrepreneur when I was growing up. He owned a limousine company. Well, actually, he had been a trucker, like, even before I was born. So he had his own, he owned his truck. So for those of you in the trucking industry, you can drive for a lot of large companies, but if you own your truck or the 16-wheeler, the cab part, then you can contract with those companies. So he owned his own truck. And so he would contract, and then he had a limousine company. So he lived in California, and he drove around a lot of famous stars. Like, I think about it today, like Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown, New Edition, New Kids on the Block, Milli Vanilli, Vanilla Ice, like just all the big stars back then. He would like often bring me stuff from their concerts. So he would like, I guess like movie premieres or when they have to go around with different concerts, he would be one of the limo drivers, and he would like bring me back stuff from the concerts or send me stuff from the concerts because, I grew up in Maryland, so we're on the opposite coast, but he would always send me stuff. And, I didn't know, like, back then how significant that was. When I went to visit him, one summer, he took me to Disneyland, or wait, no, is that Land or World? Disneyland in California, and we drove in the limo. And we drove in the limo or like around Hollywood and LA, and I just thought I was super cool because I was like this little like 8-9-year-old kid in a limo, and they were trying to figure out like who we were. Back then that was like the most amazing thing to me with my dad, and just like seeing that. And I know he told me from a very early age that I need to get an education. So stay in school, of course, was this whole thing. But he was like, you're super smart, daughter, because he would call me daughter. My family's from the South originally, so for those of you who are from the southern states, you know that we don't typically use first names a lot. Everybody has a nickname or something like that. So my dad called me daughter, and he would say, daughter, you're going to go to school, get an education. He was like, but you're not going to want to work for anyone. And I was like, what, Dad, what? I kind of brushed it off. He was like, no, you're going to own your own business. And I was like, all right. I didn't really think too much of it. He was like, you should look into that. He was like, read about it. He was like, read about entrepreneurship, read about owning a business, so, I mean, maybe here and there I did, but 16 was the age where it really kind of sunk in when I was getting closer to graduating high school and college, where I was like, yeah, there's something to this entrepreneurship thing. But yeah, that was like my very first and earliest experience with entrepreneurship, was watching my dad run his limousine company, and also, be a contractor with his truck. So I thought that was super cool because, he told me he made his own schedule. He like had his rules, He had his own schedule. He never worked on his birthday, you know, things like that, that I was like, oh, you know, I mean, kind of like, I guess I kind of brushed it off back then. But looking now, a lot of those things I've implemented in my businesses today. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you probably had something similar where you watched a friend or a family member, or maybe even your parents growing up, you know, do the entrepreneurship thing, and that's maybe what inspired you to kind of start your own business. But let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. Definitely go to brandbuilderblueprint.com and let me know your entrepreneurship story. How did you get started as an entrepreneur? What type of business do you have, and what stage of business are you in? So there's a questionnaire there. I would love to know, what type of entrepreneur are you? And I'm definitely going to read some of those, read some of the things you submit on the air. So I'd love to get to know you guys. Go ahead and do that, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that the next time I'm on the air. But yeah, that was my first experience with entrepreneurship. And just over the years, as I've had different experiences, different jobs, what I thought about entrepreneurship and how I wanted to pursue things definitely grew and changed. So if we fast forward to today I have 4 businesses right now. At the time of me starting this show, a lot of people don't know there's actually a 5th one in the works. So I'll let you guys know about that once once it's up and running. But there's 4 as of right now. And if you don't know, I own a pole and sensual dance studio, Divas and Dolls Fitness. I also own a sensual aerial dance brand, Cirque Sensual. And then I'm the founder of Simply Slay Hard Every Day. That's my business coaching, consulting, and brand strategy firm. And then Krystal Vernee is my personal brand. So, and I brand myself as a speaker, an author, and a coach. So those are the 4 lanes that I swim in right now. There's soon to be a 5th. That's under wraps though, but I'll let you guys know once that's up and running. Yeah, so you know, it's been a journey. It's been a long road, but I can't say that I would necessarily change anything. I've learned a lot, and I'm super thankful, grateful, blessed for where I am today, and all the people that I've met and who've helped me get to where I am. I will say, you might be wondering, how did I go from like pole dancing to business coaching? Well, I will say this. My introduction to pole dancing was through me rediscovering myself and going on a weight loss journey, and never really being able to kind of take dance lessons formally as a kid. This was like perfect, the like fusion of all the different worlds and things that I love to do, because I love to dance. And I'm just grateful that I discovered pole dancing as an art form and as a form of exercise. And like when I started taking classes, I just knew. I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, and it may sound crazy, but over the years as my dancing has evolved, as my journey as a business owner has evolved, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And just being able to have a studio and touch the lives of so many women and men, you know, helping women to feel more empowered, feel more confident, discover themselves, give them a new way of working out, a new community, new friends, new family even, because at my studio we consider ourselves to be family. That's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to open a studio. I'll get more into my personal story as the show goes on. One of the questions that I did want to answer on air was how I came up with the Brand Builder Blueprint, and capital HER. And if you don't know, one of the pillars in my company, Simply She, is basically advocating for women, but women in entrepreneurship. And so everything is her and she. And so I really want to see women win. I really want women to excel in their lives, in their businesses. And I talked about not having to choose earlier. And I really mean that. I really mean that I want to see women be happy and have all the things that they desire in life, whether that be a family, a career, a business. I think it's important to know that as women, we don't have to choose, because men aren't made to choose. And I think society still has a long way to go in that regard, in terms of like what's acceptable or normal for women. Let's normalize women having being multifaceted, multi-talented, and doing everything, being able to take care of the home, and also, you know, be a force to be reckoned with in the boardroom, and have different businesses and have an empire. Let's normalize that. So, you know, we're going to have that conversation. We'll have that conversation continuously, I'm sure. But yeah, so that's basically a snippet into my entrepreneurship journey. Like I said, I would love to hear about yours, and let's have some fun with that and see what type of entrepreneurs we have tuning in. That will also help me determine what to share with you all to help you grow your businesses. Do we have more e-commerce people? Do we have more coaches? Do we have more consultants? Do we have brick and mortar folks? Let me know. Let me know what type of business you have. And we're definitely going to be having lots of conversations around that. So I did want to touch on my professional experience, and I know a lot of times people with a job are looked down upon. Listen, there is nothing wrong with having a job, okay? You get valuable experience by being an employee, and I always say, if you can't be a stellar employee first, you're not going to be able to run your own business. If you can't operate with excellence for somebody else, you're not going to do it for yourself. If you can't be on time for your job, you're not going to be on time for your business. It's kind of like you have to always be operating at your highest level, operating in excellence in order for that to transfer over. That's not something that just because you started a business is going to happen overnight. Those same habits that you had when you were working for somebody else is going to transfer right over into that business you just started. So let me start off and level set by saying that, because I definitely side hustled for many, many years. And a lot of that had to do with, you know, the personal circumstances and what I was going through. I'm going to be real with y'all. Divorce is rough, okay? Divorce is rough. And I'm not sure that I would have made it if I wasn't still working at my full-time job when all that was happening. So I'll never tell anybody to just quit their job because having a business is where it's at. Because honestly, the entrepreneurship is not for everybody. So, and of course, having full-time employment is not for everybody either. I think people just have to know what suits them best. But as when I was working full-time, I was a government contractor. So I have over 13 years of experience in that arena. And that's actually one of the streams of income that I teach my clients how to set up for themselves. So how to do business with the federal government. Yes, I do know how to do that. And I do also consult in that area as well. So if someone needs help with setting up their government contracts pipeline, whether that be federal, state, or local, myself and my team, we manage that for a lot of different companies in the area. So I will say I learned a lot through that experience. Got a chance to be over a lot of amazing projects and programs, specifically for the military. Of course, I have a soft spot for the military, as my dad was in the Air Force and he talked about it all the time and tried to get me to join right out of college. That wasn't the way I wanted to go. I actually ended up going to Cornell and getting a degree in engineering. So a lot of firsts in my family, definitely, because the majority of my family are actually teachers or educators. So, and I'm like, I ended up, I guess, doing that, but just in a different way, in my own way. I've always tended to be the child that does stuff in her own way. So there you go. There you have it. But I also had the privilege of leading a very large team, like over 150 people, and got a lot of chances. The government entrusted me with being the project manager over standing up a lot of programs that were going to serve their families, and I never take any of that for granted. But I definitely teach my clients how to be able to do the same thing. If they're going to be working with the government to set up a new program or determining what opportunities are going to be best for them and their company to grow their business in the government contracting arena, that's what we want to do. But I love my experience, at working that full-time position, and it enabled me to do so many different things. And it also was another stream of income. I talked about having multiple streams of income. Having a job is also another stream of income. So, I always tell people you need to have a job sometimes so that you can grow your business. I mean, it only makes sense. You want to have a stable, steady stream of income before you, let's say, jump to another one if that's what you're trying to do. So I would have never been able to do that if I just kind of started my business from scratch. So just things to think about in your entrepreneurship journey. Again, no two journeys are alike, but we definitely all do the best that we can, and I always tell people, do what makes sense. But yeah, guys, so that's a little bit about my journey as both an entrepreneur and as an employee as well. What types of jobs have you all had? I know I've done, right out of college I did sales, which is probably shocking. I should tell that story at some point, because that's always an interesting one for people to hear. Introvert, right out of college, right into sales. But yeah, let me know what types of jobs you've had. Go to brandbuilderblueprint.com and let me know what types of jobs you had, and I'll read that on the air, and we will have a discussion about it. As I said before, being a woman in entrepreneurship is difficult at times. It's amazing at times, but it's also difficult at times. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this show, is because I actually want to encourage other women, aspiring entrepreneurs, or they're currently in the entrepreneurship space, to continue to carry forward even if it gets difficult, and also to give them like practical tips to be able to build their business. And I know sometimes that's easier said than done, but I want to create a safe space where you could ask questions. We could also share tips and share things that are working for us and working for women in entrepreneurship right now in different industries. So that also too is part of the reason why I wanted to do the Brand Builder Blueprint, because I feel like we can all learn from each other. And one of the things that I value the most is community, and this is going to be an amazing community of women entrepreneurs. I already know it, I already feel it in my heart, and we're going to be seeing each other win in so many different ways over our course of being together and our journey together on the show. So yeah, I would encourage you, and this is what I really, really want, for you guys to ask questions. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Go to the brandbuilderblueprint.com. Submit your questions. What do you really want to know? What's your burning question that you have right now? What is keeping you stuck in your business? Just submit your questions. Like I said, I really want this to be an informative and a safe space. Also, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some great guests coming to you guys soon. But yeah, that is it. And take care for now, guys.